todos estos perros gringos, todos, y que las maldiciones de Dios lleguen hacia ellos.
Cuando me activo saco el cuerno de chivo. Todo lo que digo yo lo he vivido, haciendo oraciones entre mis suspiros. Muerte por un gringo es negativo y sigo. Estamos en guerra con estos gabachos, hijos de perra, y espera. Ellos son de Inglaterra, en barcos llegaron a nuestra tierra, se aferran que somos ilegales, que toda nuestra raza son criminales, corrales. Es donde nos encierran, sin causa, motivo, nos encierran, quisieran acabar con nuestra gente, pero aquí estamos, hasta el presente y muerte es lo que está presente, unida nuestra gente, la raza está más fuerte, la escuela israelita, donde no corremos con edomitas, todo de la Biblia ellos predican, y a toda nuestra gente se le avisa.
Llegado lo que esperan, guerra mundial tercera, que todos los gringos se caigan y mueran. Cobro condenas y ya Shakar lo ordena. Con líricas mortales prosigue el asalto. No somos cobardes ni menos cristianos. Crúcense la línea y en corto los castro. Malditos gaballos, cara a nuestros pasos. Así es, raza, si no los conoce les presento a Satanás, porque todos los putos son de la Ku Klux Klan. Así es, mi gente, póngase trucha. No me ande ellos iconeando quiénes somos nosotros para andar hincando a toda la bola de pendejos.
Estamos con, ¿cómo se llama, carnal?
Arturo.
Arturo, estamos con Arturo aquí en el parque de Richie Valens. Ok,
Has your family been affected by ICE? Everybody here, talking about what's going on,
we gotta get video too.
The express is,
Ok, aquí estamos con, ¿cómo se llama, carnal?
Arturo.
Arturo, estamos con Arturo aquí en el parque de Richie Valens. Ok, un parque que aquí viven pura raza aquí en este lugar. Y estamos aquí para preguntarle unas preguntas. ¿Qué crees que se puede decir del pueblo latino que votó por Donald Trump?
Podemos decir, para mí es una gente ya que está cometiendo como racismo.
Es como la raza está cometiendo racismo.
Está cometiendo racismo porque está discriminando a nuestra propia raza. Sabíamos lo que iba a suceder y lo están discriminando. Todo por no tener papeles nosotros y ellos por tener papeles.
Pues está diciendo que la raza que tiene papeles.
Mucha raza que tiene papeles discrimina, pero mucha raza que no, aunque tenga papeles, está a favor de nosotros todavía.
Okay.
Igual.
Okay. Y la otra pregunta es, considerando la división que existe dentro de nuestra comunidad entre mexicanos, otros llamados latinos como brasileños, salvadoreños, hondureños, por ejemplo, ¿crees que podríamos cerrar la brecha entre nosotros al darnos cuenta de que pasamos por la misma lucha y que a los ojos de nuestros opresores todos somos iguales?
Pues sí, todos somos iguales, aquí todos venimos a lo mismo, no importa la raza o no importa del país que venga, aquí todos venimos a lo mismo y y el que puede, puede, y el que no puede, no importa de qué país sea, no porque yo sea mexicano, Estados Unidos va a estar a favor mío, no, aquí el que viene, viene de donde viene y venimos a lo mismo, porque no vamos a decir porque tú eres de Salvador, eres mejor que el mexicano, no, aquí nadie es mejor que nadie, aquí todos somos iguales.
Ok, gracias por eso, gracias. Ok, aquí estamos con Roberto en el parque de Richie Valens, aquí en San Fernando Valley. Y estamos aquí nomás para preguntarle dos preguntas. La primera es, ¿qué crees que se puede decir del pueblo latino que votó por Donald Trump?
Pues que la regaron porque pues, está muy mal la cosa, todo lo que está haciendo no está nada bien, hace puras cosas, está haciendo puro que no sirve, pues. No está fregando a los latinos.
Ok, la otra pregunta es, considerando la división que existe dentro de nuestra comunidad entre mexicanos y otros llamados latinos, como brasileños, salvadoreños, hondureños, por ejemplo, ¿crees que podríamos cerrar la brecha entre nosotros al darnos cuenta de que pasamos por la misma lucha y que a los ojos de nuestros opresores todos somos iguales?
Pues sí, es que pues todos tenemos que hacer la lucha ahora sí uno para sobrevivir mejor aquí. Es que es mejor, pues toda la gente batalla. Ya ahorita todos los que andan allá para, ¿cómo se llama? El canal de Panamá, se están devolviendo porque querían venir para acá y los regresaron. Está duro. ¿Y qué hace uno? Pues más de aguantar la vara, o sea que por causa de él. Así está la situación. Es lo que pueden hacer, ¿qué más? Echarle ganas, es todo. Ponerle ganas al negocio, al asunto y pues trabajar, es todo. Uno viene a trabajar y si le toca las malas, pues ya, ni modo. Pero uno echarle ganas, pues es todo. Ponerle ganas duro. Es todo lo que puedo decir, pues qué más. Nomás ponerle, que toda la gente le eche ganas y no se rajen. Más de aguantarnos y vámonos, echar para adelante, todo para adelante y nada para atrás. Sí, es todo.
Okay. Pues gracias mucho por la entrevista.
Hey, this is Precinct Officer Cordacia Allen, ISUPK, under Commander General Yohana, and today we're with
Eddie.
What do you think as far as, in your opinion, Donald Trump targeted the Hispanic community or deportation, but has not targeted other immigrants like the Chinese, the Arab, and Iranian or deportation?
I personally think it's a little bit unfair because if you really notice, majority of population here in Pacoima, how we're at right now, is mostly like Central American, Hispanic, Mexican and stuff. If you ever go to every store, all you see is Mexican. So I feel like personally, it's like he's just aiming towards us, like in a very racist manner, which is so funny because his wife is like, immigrant too. So in my opinion, I just feel it's uncalled for because, I feel like majority of Mexicans, they all have, they always see them, they're always like, we're just about working, everybody just works and stuff, they have their money, they have to take care of their families, they're not here to go do stuff, like crazy stuff, you know how you say, supposedly they're rapists, child molesters and all that, that's like mostly for other people, you know what I'm saying, like, but he makes it seem like if us as people that actually take care of our kids, our families and stuff, makes it seem like we're still bad, but I just think mostly it's like more like, it just goes deeper because, because he's a white president, you see a bunch of white people, like if you go to like Border Ranch or something, I personally feel like, yeah, I just think it's messed up, me personally, I didn't vote for him, I'm not political, but I do listen to each individual, what they think and say, and I personally, I don't know, man, that's just insane, it's like, I don't know, I feel like, yeah, I just think it's crazy, to be honest.
So I got one more question for you. As far as the Latino community that went out and supported Trump and also voted for Trump, do you feel at this time that he has actually betrayed them?
You think that they betrayed our race and stuff?
Right.
I think so, because I've had individual friends of mine that one or two maybe. Like I don't really talk to them as much, but you know they voted for him, but not for the reasons that he's the racist part, but they voted for him in a way because he's like, oh, Trump's gonna give us all this money and stuff like that. He's gonna make things possible. Like I guess they just to use him for his little financial gain. Like people, like he said, supposedly he's gonna help. Mostly taxpayers, like our taxpayers are people, hardworking Americans and stuff like that, to get most of their pay or something like that. Then I get taxed for it. But I personally think, I don't like it. Yeah, I think it's messed up. You know, you basically, you're kind of turning your back on a Hispanic community, especially because all you see is Latinos right here. You know, right. I think it's like a slap in the back. Me personally, if somebody like, you know, they say that all immigrants should, you know, because I've seen on the news how they say that all immigrants should be deported, and the person that's saying is Mexican. So you're basically saying, you know, your parents should just be gone too. So I just think they're just whitewashed and fucked in the head, I think. In my opinion, I personally think they just get slapped or something. That's just my opinion. I would slap them in the head for that. But that's just me though. Not to be violent, but I feel like if us as Latinos like gathered together, not marching in a peaceful way how I've seen it, and we kind of do it in the way where like Malcolm X did it, like in that way. You know what I'm saying? How they actually listen to you, and you got to do things obviously like do, you know, violence. I guess I think in that way they'll listen to you more, rather than the Martin Luther King way, you know, where it's all peaceful. But you can't go based on that because he's just being racist towards everybody. That's just how I would deal with it. I don't know how everybody else thinks, but I personally think like if I wanted to make a statement, how we're doing it right now, it would be like the Malcolm X way.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot, man, for your time. With that being said, man, shalom. What we doing? Hit him? Or just saying that? All right, no sweat.
I drink my horchata warm because fuck ice.
That's right. That's good right there. All right, so I'm Precinct Officer Oscar Ward with the ISUPK, and we're here today with
De la Mora.
De la Mora. Okay, so we just have some quick questions for you. The first one is, why do they say Latinos bring crime when most of us are just looking for a better life?
Well, who's saying that, you know? We're not saying that shit. And when you look at crimes, you got to look at all the crimes they're doing, you know? Just the other day, ICE is busting in without a warrant, you know? So that's a crime in itself. Who's following what? So how the fuck are we gonna, you know, follow these stupid ass rules that they make when they themselves don't follow them? You feel me?
Got you. Right.
And you gotta remember who crossed the ocean to get over here. Feel me? Mm-hmm. We gotta go back to basics. Right. When it comes to that, we gotta remember that.
100%.
So
we were just talking about that.
Yeah.
But people don't want to hear that.
It's fucking stupid. Yeah. Like, we are the original inhabitants of this land. So how the fuck are these fools coming over here making rules? Right. Feel me?
100%. And the other question is, if everyone in this country comes from immigrants, what right do they have to decide who stays or who leaves?
Again, that's what I just said. It's like these motherfuckers just came, you know what I'm saying? Came destroy. All they brought was fucking death and destruction, you know, to this Western Hemisphere that was already doing its own thing, you know what I'm saying? So they come and now they impose all these stupid ass rules, and then they make us seem like we're the criminals for just migrating in our own land, in our own territory. This is all our shit.
Right.
So,
100%.
Yeah, that's how I feel about that. And I mean, it's just facts. It's not even how I feel, it's facts. So
100%. Oh, so one more question. What's your opinion for the Latinos who are in support of Trump and who voted for Trump?
They gotta look in the mirror, man. They gotta look in the mirror. They got this shit backwards. I mean, just listen to the shit he's saying. This is a man that's constantly gotta say that he's the strongest president, that he's the, you know what it is. When people in the room gotta say all of this shit, it just means that they're not. It means they're weak as fuck. And we gotta remember that we outnumber these motherfuckers. You know what I'm saying? So we're the motherfucking majority. So we have the power. The people have the power.
Right.
And that's why we're out here, you know what I'm saying? Representing.
Facts.
So, yeah.
Facts. All right, The water for that. Thank you for the interview. This is the ISUPK under Commander General Yohana.
Negros e indios nativos somos los verdaderos israelitas. ¿Esto dónde lo dice? Esto dice en la Biblia.
Show that Puerto Ricans love America, but that ain't reality. Police attack was planned beforehand. Only white cops were assigned.
Then our only recourse is to defend ourselves.
We tried to move people onto the sidewalk, but the police were all out for blood.
Another series of protests was staged by thousands of students, parents, and the Brown Berets. In June 1968, the group that had become known as the East LA 13 was released on bail.
Demonstrate to our people and we deserve better and that we could, get better.
I don't think there's ever been a time when we need more of the spirit of the young lords than today.
I guess we had no fear. We just did what we think, what we thought at the time was the right thing to do.
National captain of the Black Panther Party. They are making it their business to process arresting me and my wife, through a process of arresting numerous Panthers on the block.
Police just went in and started beating them viciously. It was ugly. They were just yelling at us, you dirty spicks, dirty Mexicans, who do you think you are?
Órale, testing, mic check, 1 2 1 2. Can you hear me, carnal?
Carnal, can you hear me? It was a little bit laggy for the intro, but
I don't know what it is, if it's the internet or what, carnal, but yeah.
Okay, yeah, but you're coming in solid though.
Hey, Most High in Christ. Hey, what's going down, Israel? Silence this camera real quick. Hey, what's going down, Israel? Shalom. That's how we're here another Friday night. Y'all tuning in to the Inconvenient Truth. Of course, I'm right here with Mighty Priest and Officer of 1,000, Kamada, the Camarada right here, man. What's going down, Karnal?
Hey, shalom, carnal, and shalom to all the carnales and the sisters.
Hey, Shalom, Yahweh, what is it?
En el nombre de
Dang,
Cristo.
I don't. No, yeah.
Yahweh, en el nombre
Yahweh,
de
en el
Cristo.
nombre de Yahweh Shai te bendiga. Y
En el
for the
nombre de Yahweh,
sisters,
Salaki.
Yahweh, en el nombre de Yahweh Shai les bendigan a los carnales y a las mujeres. Yahweh cuide sobre ustedes en el nombre de Yahweh Shai. So like I'm so used to saying it in English, I don't forgot all that. Of course, we're tapping in, a little Nate Night show. I mean, the brother taught one hell of a Lashawan Kwadash class, so give it up for Kamadah for that one, Kanat. You know what I'm saying? Keep doing your thing, Kanat. But yeah, we're right here, man. Tonight's topic, Kanat. My title tonight's episode: envy not thou the what is it? Envy not thou the oppressor. Envy not thou oppressor, and choose none of his ways, man.
All right.
And that's one thing that our people suffer from. You know what I mean? Our people suffer from being like this oppressor and following his ways. You know what I mean? Like we'll do everything that this oppressor tells us to do. We'll dress how he tells us to dress. We'll rock our hair the way he tells us to rock our hair. We'll speak how he tells us to speak. Thinking that that's better or superior in some way. And that's all because of Christianity, because of the Christian church, and all the lies that have been pushed on us, thinking that, we're like this oppressor is better than us, and they're the all-knowing and the supreme and everything, Kamada. You know what I mean?
Yeah, carnal, our destruction begins with wanting to assimilate.
Right.
Wanting to assimilate to a culture or a heritage that has nothing to do with your spirit. The Lord doesn't give us a spirit already according to who we are, and it's not congruent, right? To go in the way of the heathen is not congruent to you, and that's the reason why you end up at the bottom, because they're always going to be the first class when they serve their gods, when they eat when they keep their culture. They're always going to be the first class, and because we try to assimilate, we're always going to be of no interest. Our best interests are not going to be in their minds. You know what I'm saying? And what befalls us is destruction.
Right. Most definitely, man. And that's one thing we learn when we try to, when we join their military, when we join their police force, when we go to their, join their religion, celebrate their holidays, and align ourselves to their country. We think America is our country, man, and that's the problem when America is not our country, Rasa. As much as that's gonna hurt your feeling, a lot of y'all's feelings out there, it's just the truth, man. America is not our country. We've shown it so much love and allegiance, and the thank you America gives us is what? A spit in the face, man. That's what America does, and that's why Donald Trump won, man. So everyone tuning in, man, let it be known whether you agree or disagree, man, with what we're about to say today. Do you think that Raza should partake in American culture? Do you think we should assimilate? That's what I'm wondering, Kamada,
Or they're gonna say yeah, we should.
Right.
Because why? Because they think America benefits them, when in reality it does not benefit you. You can see our people are in cages, are being deported, right? Are being targeted because everybody is an illegal that's coming into the U.S., not just Hispanics, but who is being targeted, right? Why? Because we are despised, right? We are the ones that are being profiled. We are the ones who, every time they speak on criminals, on illegals, right, they only are referring to Hispanics, Blacks, and Native Americans.
Right.
No one else.
That's who that's who ICE is targeting. Why is it that majority of the videos I'm seeing online, I could I'm gonna share some videos earlier because this shows a community at living in fear and in terror, Kamada. You know what I mean? Every video I'm seeing online is ICE targeting Raza, man. They're going after the street vendors. They're going to Home Depot. Which people you know hangs out at Home Depot, you know? And they hang out there to find work, you know?
Carnal. And another thing too is we've been bringing it out, you know, week after week, that even when we try to have a good time and we try to step out, they even targeting you at the clubs.
Damn,
you can't even go to the club and forget about your oppression.
Right,
for a night.
Right.
God damn the oppressor.
Hold on. The oppressor in the stinking country, carnal. And
Yeah,
people are gonna get mad that I say that. They'll be like, "Oh man, you're being ungrateful. Oh, if it's so bad over here, why don't you leave?" Let me tell y'all something, man. We ain't gotta leave nowhere. That's first and foremost. You know, we don't have to leave anywhere because we're in our home country, man. This is the land of our people, man. I mean, I think some of y'all forget history, or y'all purposely, you know, act like you don't know the past, as if you didn't know whose land this was first, you know, as if you didn't know, you know, that this was the land that belonged to the raza, that belonged to indigenous people, that belonged to so-called Latinos, man. We're not the illegal immigrants here. We're not the guests here. We're the actual homeowners. Y'all the guests. You gringos are the guests. You know, every other nationality or nation of people is a guest, minus so-called Hispanics, you know, minus so-called indigenous people, you know, and minus so-called black people, because you know what I mean? They were forcefully brought over here, you know? But everyone else, y'all immigrant, y'all the true immigrants, y'all the true illegal immigrants, not us, man. But of course, the oppressor is such a devil. He'll he'll make it seem like, you know, we're the, you know, the guests here. This is, you know, they provided this home for us, and we should be grateful for the crumbs they give us, Kamada. That's how they treat us, you know. And may our people wake up, man, and it's happening, you know. Raza's waking up, man. But may our people wake up, man, and understand that that is complete BS, you know. This country is great because we've made it great, not because they're great, man. Not because they're technologically superior to us, and you know, you know, like this oppressor wants to believe that they invented everything great and that we need them, when it's the other way around. They need us.
Damn right, Garnett.
You know what I mean? But we'll get into some topics, Kamada. The first one I wanted to get into, right, is let's go into what happened, you know, this past Saturday with the ship, the Mexican Navy ship that crashed, right?
Mm-hmm.
And some details that came out about the ship, right? Jokes have been made about it, man, but you know, let's get into it. Let's see. Let's share this one. Share the screen.
That deadly boat crash right into the Brooklyn Bridge. We have new reporting here after that deadly boat crash right into the Brooklyn Bridge. Chilling video here showing the masts of that Mexican Navy ship snapping into pieces. Nearly 300 sailors on the ship on a training mission. 2 of them were killed. Several others recovering from injuries tonight, and there are many questions about how this happened. Here's Gio Benitez.
Tonight, growing questions about what caused that catastrophic ship crash into the Brooklyn Bridge, killing 2 people, injuring 19 more. Stunning videos capturing the moment of impact Saturday night. This one filmed by someone on the bridge. Late today, officials confirming there was no significant damage to the iconic bridge. The NTSB says the Mexican Navy ship carrying nearly 300 people on a training mission departed a Manhattan pier around 8:20 Saturday night with the help of a tugboat. Sailors seen lining the towering masts. The ship reversing into the East River when it started to pick up speed.
We are going to be accessing all the different electronic data to determine at what point the vessel began accelerating.
4 minutes later, around 8:24 p.m., the crew requesting assistance from more tugboats. And roughly 45 seconds after those calls, the ship hitting the bridge. All three masts snapping like sticks, sailors left dangling. That tugboat appeared to try to steer the ship, called the Quadamok, south, but it kept drifting north towards the bridge. Experts pointing to videos like this, showing a possible wake, suggesting the engines were pushing it faster right into the bridge.
That indicates that there's some sort of propelling force. So it does indicate that the ship is coming astern and actually driving itself toward the Brooklyn shore and the bridge.
And David, it's still not clear if a mechanical issue played a role in this crash. The NTSB is now waiting on Mexican officials to give them permission to board this ship and interview the crew. David.
All right, Gio Benitez reporting tonight. Gio, thanks as always.
4 minutes. That's how.
So as you see, Carnal, like this was all over the internet, man, and it made news. 2 people died, as you saw. It was a young brother and a young sister that died, man, that were in the Mexican Navy because that mast of the ship hit the bridge. Now, one thing that I'm gonna share, right, is my disappointment and utter disgust that I seen online about the jokes made about this situation, Carnal. And let me show you one, man. A TikTok user or I don't know this TikTok or Instagram, but this people made light of this situation, make jokes about it, Carnal. And it's really sad, man. You know, our own do it, you know, and that's the problem, man. That's the problem with us, man. Like we seriously have no compassion for our own, man. We look down on our own and make jokes about it, you know. Let me show you an example of the joke made. Let me see if I can find it, man. See if this cat didn't take the video down. He did it. Here it is right here. Let me share it. Damn it, that's not it. Salakic. There we go.
Everyone was laughing about the thought of a Mexican Navy, but who's laughing now, Chingo? From the Rio Grande to New York Harbor, we proved all of the haters wrong, cabrón. Salud to the Mexican Navy, disproving stereotypes on this voyage, cabrón. Everyone was laughing about the thought of a Mexican Navy, but who's laughing now, Chingo? From the Rio Grande.
So what you think of that, Kamada? Like, is he making a joke about it, or is he like trying to touch on something, Carnal?
Man, I don't even know, to be honest.
Because he said, this is what he said. He said, let me play it again.
New York Harbor, we proved all of the haters wrong, cabrón. Salud to the Mexican Navy, disproving stereotypes on this voyage, cabrón.
Disproving stereotypes?
Everyone was laughing about the thought of a Mexican Navy, but who's laughing now, Chingo? From the Rio Grande to New York Harbor, we proved all of the haters wrong, cabrón. Salud to the Mexican Navy, disproving stereotypes on this voyage, cabrón.
So, you know, like, it's sad or not because 2 people died, right? And this brother went and made this post. I mean, you know, if someone want to comment online and say I'm wrong or maybe I'm misunderstanding, by all means, go for it, you know. But like he's like he's making assumptions. One, like saying that the captain was incompetent somehow, and he's the reason that the ship crashed into the bridge. When you read the story, it says that the ship lost power. One, two, the that the tugboats were right there. They were supposed to help, but they didn't end up helping. And then there's another twist in here, Kamada, in this story.
God.
Everyone assumes that the captain was Mexican, right? And that he was behind the ship.
So is he trying to say that the stereotype is that we're always drinking? So the captain had some drinks in him, and that's the reason why he couldn't steer the boat.
Right, that's what it seems like, carnal.
Okay.
So he was having too many tecates, and he got behind. He got behind the wheel of the ship.
Okay, because now I'm like, I'm processing it, how he's having a drink, and he said the stereotype. You know what I mean? Plus what you're saying. So okay, because I haven't really looked into the story, to be honest.
I have, carnal, and trip out on this, right?
I know you did a class on it too. But I will say this, ain't nothing funny about lives being lost, you know what I mean? But overall, right, the Lord has a hand in everything.
Right.
You know what I mean? Only he knows why you know what I'm saying, he caused this destruction.
Right. I'm gonna share this article right here.
My thing is if America, like, were you going to go into like why is American and so like a Mexican Navy ship in American waters?
Well,
like, what's the point of that?
I know the ship was on its way. Like, I can go into it. We can go. It was like doing some training or something like that. I have the article right here, Kana. Let me see if I can enlarge it real quick.
Okay, come on.
You know what I mean? Let me see if I can enlarge this. All right. So this is the article right here. It's titled, Mexico's Navy points finger at U.S. after ship hits Brooklyn Bridge. Right? So Mexico is blaming the U.S. Let's see. We got this news story right here. Let's see.
And so, like, why are you trying to figure that out? Wasn't it recently too that another ship had hit a bridge like somewhere else in the East Coast just recently? A couple, like last year or a few months
back
ago?
Yeah, last year, a few months back, right? The ship that crashed into the bridge in the Delaware Bay or something like that, and how many Latinos died because they were working that night? And it was a similar situation. The ship had lost power, and it crashed into the bridge.
My thing is this, like, even when truck drivers are driving cross country, right? There's certain roads that have a clearance for bridges. You know what I'm saying? I'm pretty sure like there's a clearance that they need to be aware of.
Right.
You know what I mean? Why would they drive the boat close to a bridge when they know it can't clear the bridge?
Well, that's the thing, Carnal, right? Everyone's blaming the ship and the captain, saying that they purposely, like they were too incompetent to steer the ship. But as the story I read, right, the ship lost control, like it lost power, so they couldn't control it. And then the current of the river pushed it into the bridge.
Okay, con.
So that's what they were saying. I found this article right here. I'm gonna play this video for it. We'll see what they say.
What are you doing?
You hear people laughing, carnal.
And then it just collapses the second it takes off the dog.
everybody was running off the bridge because they thought it was going to make the bridge fall down. This was insane. People were running.
So there's just different angles. So that's just different angles of it. Here's the article. It says Mexico's Navy chief has said that the pilot manning his training ship, which crashed into the Brooklyn Bridge on Saturday night, was under the control of New York authorities. So, like, can you hear me, Kana?
Yeah.
So it wasn't even a Mexican captain behind the ship. It was a what they call an American pilot that helps navigate the ships in the waters, right? So it was a more than likely an Edomite behind the wheel of the ship. It says
it could be
right, like it was if it was done purposely, because other angles show the tugboat not even bothering to try and stop the ship, you know? The ship has a training mission and is also an ambassador. Therefore, all its voyages are carried out in accordance with international standards, Admiral Raimundo Pedro Morales Angeles said at a press conference on Tuesday. He added that with such a large ship that journeys from the harbor must be controlled by a specialized harbor pilot from the New York government. In response, the National Transportation Safety Board told Newsweek it is standard practice for a local pilot to help vessels navigate a port as they make their way out to sea. So this happened because the ship was leaving out to sea. Why it matters? The crash on Saturday evening occurred when the Cuauhtemoc training vessel collided with the bridge spanning the East River, resulted in 2 deaths and 22 injuries, according to the report by The Guardian. Authorities had launched an investigation into the crash, described as the start of a long process. Now they're just taking it, you know how it is. Carnal, Isa will always try to cover for themselves, you know? Now it's gonna take a long time. Now they don't know, what's going on. They got no answers. Authorities, right, which while precise details on what contributed to the fatal incident remain scarce, what to know? The accident happened shortly after sunset on Saturday as the Cuauhtemoc was departing from Pier 17 in Lower Manhattan. The ship was scheduled to head south away from the Brooklyn Bridge en route to New York Harbor before heading to Iceland. So it was going to go to Iceland. The Cuauhtemoc ship had 277 people on board when it collided with the bridge spanning the East River on Saturday evening. According to the New York authorities, video showing the ship's mast collapsing during the crash was taken by onlookers in New York's Dumbo neighborhood and quickly spread on social media minutes after clearing the dock. The vessel's 3 147-foot masts were sheared by the underside of the bridge. Reuters reported knocking several naval cadets off its crossbeams. The deceased victims have been identified by Mexican authorities as cadets Adal Jair Maldonado Marcos and America Yamilet Sanchez, according to CNN. Morales Angeles told reporters the entire maneuver the ship made from leaving the dock to the moment of the collision was under the control of the pilot. He added that the harbor pilot decides how the maneuver is carried out and what resources will be used to assist. Mexican outlet ABC Noticias reported. During the press conference, Morales Angeles acknowledged that the pilot of the vessel had only 80 to 90 seconds to avoid the impact, adding that it was currently impossible to determine whether they took appropriate measures to avoid the collision. I don't know, Commandant. I'm not an expert, but it looks like they didn't take any measure. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I would say this, like, overall, the Most High's power governs the seas. You know what I'm saying? But I would say this, carnal, like, it doesn't make sense to me how when America started putting tariffs on Mexican goods, Mexico retaliated by shutting the borders. I don't know if you saw the videos where they shut the borders. You know, they closed the gates. Did you see that?
I haven't seen. Nah,
It was on TikTok. It was on TikTok how I think it was in Tijuana how they I think it was like the you know, because they have Otay is like San Isidro. Otay is San Isidro, and then you have the one where it's it leads you to central you know, Tijuana, right? It's like they por abajo, and but you know, I think it's the one from the abajo where they shut down the gates. Right now, this is the thing that was Mexico, like showing the people that they are separating themselves from America. Right now, this is the thing that Donald Trump has tried to take control over the Gulf. What's it called?
The Gulf of Mexico.
Right, the Gulf of Mexico. Right,
which they call the Gulf of America.
Right, the Gulf. Yeah, they're trying to rename it to the Gulf of America. Now, this is the thing. If Mexico is really trying to separate themselves from America, they would have not came into American waters. They would just went to Ireland. That's where they were going, right? Or Iceland. What would you say? Iceland.
They were going to Iceland.
Iceland. They were going to Iceland. Now, this right here lets you know that, right? The scripture says that they are in. What does it say? That just paraphrasing. It says that they're in bed with the woman, right?
Is it his?
You know that scripture,
Which one?
What I'm talking about? That they're in bed. They're in bed with the woman talking about America.
With the whore.
With the whore, yeah, they're in bed with the whore.
With the great
this right here lets you know that Shane Baum, right? She tries to be liked by Mexicans, but really she's in bed with the whore, with the great whore of America. I believe that's what the scripture says, right there. And this right here, this woman she does not have our people's best interests in mind.
Right. Salaki Canal is a Revelation 1:22.
Let me hear it. Salaki.
Yeah. Oh wait, no, that's not 1:22. It's Revelation. What is it?
It's about being in bed. Let me try to look for it. Salaki.
Let me see. Let me try Revelation 17:1. Revelation 17:1 says this, Carnal. And there came one of the seven angels which had the seven vials, and talked with me, saying unto me, Come hither, I will shew unto thee the judgment of the great whore that sitteth upon many waters, with whom the kings of the earth had committed fornication.
And this is the thing that I'm pretty sure that, you know, just like how you hear how right, our people are going to be deported to Ecuador, El Salvador, right? You're probably going to hear how people from other countries are going to be deported to Mexico and be imprisoned in Mexico.
Right.
Because Mexico is in how does the scripture say? Salagia is
in bed with the great whore.
Is in bed with the great whore that sitteth in many waters.
Right. With whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication, and the inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk with the wine of her fornication.
Right. You know what I'm saying? But overall, like I said, you know, the Lord's power, it governs the seas.
Right. But the Lord's powers governs the whole earth, carnal.
Yeah, you know, I'm even the seas. You know what I'm saying?
Right. The whole right. You know what I mean? what's that scripture? Not even a bird falleth out the sky without the Lord. What is it?
Authorizing it. Just paraphrasing. Yeah.
So I mean, you know, I think the lesson here, right?
You know, it's a tragedy. The lives that were lost, and nobody should be, you know, joking and laughing about the matter.
Laughing, man.
You know what I'm saying? But you know, the Lord has angels. What's that scripture says? I think it's in Psalms.
Psalms. What is it? The Lord has angels for what? To do good and evil?
Oh no, it's in the Apocrypha.
Mm-hmm.
In the Apocrypha, it says there be spirits that are created for vengeance.
Okay. Let me get it.
You know what I'm saying? So like, you know, whatever happened, it wasn't by mistake. You know what I'm saying? The Lord still sent the spirits, you know, out there for vengeance.
Ecclesiasticus 39 and 28, carnal.
Okay, Khan.
Okay.
So you know that crash wasn't random.
Right. And
you know, like that's still the Lord's doing.
Right, carnal. And one thing I'll say, carnal, is that it's really sad, right? That people were laughing and making jokes about it. And you know what's sad, what's disappointing is that you see how quick we give the oppressor a pass. You saw how the brother made a TikTok reel, but he made a reel making fun of the captain because he thought the captain was Mexican. But this whole time, the captain wasn't, the Mexican captain wasn't the one controlling the ship. It was the pilot. And let me look something up real quick. Let me see if they identified a pilot.
Right. And it said that it was an American pilot, right? And that's the thing. This is a Mexican training ship. What the hell is an American pilot doing? You know, behind the wheel of a Mexican vessel.
Right. Like what?
You know, I wouldn't trust an American pilot. You know, if I was if I was in charge of the Mexican Navy, right behind my vessel.
So there's so many factors. They're saying turbulent waters, the pilot, you know. But you know, notice how they're not naming the pilot. They're protecting his identity.
Wow.
But this brother thought it funny to you know make fun of the Mexican captain, you know.
Right.
And you see the comments on here, people are checking them, saying, you know, 2 people died. Do you realize 2 people lost their lives? Have a little respect. You know, and they said a tragedy is still a tragedy, and I am convinced that people have lost empathy, poking fun of a culture, of a mishap, of a accident. Seriously, people, including the maker of this video I just watched, do better. See, look, not cool. 2 people passed away, respect. Too soon, you see people, yeah, man. The pilot was American because an American ship pilot needs to navigate the ship while in their harbors. I'm just curious to see. You know what I mean? Like they ain't talk about him though, you know? They ain't talk about the pilot. They just blame the Mexican captain. Because that's how we're seen. We're seen as incompetent. We're seen as, you know, drunks. We're seen as all types of things, Kamada, you know, in this place.
Yes.
You know, so damn this oppressor, damn this place. You know, may Christ return soon and free us out of this captivity.
Right.
You know, and it's really sad and disgusting. You know, that we, our own people. I could understand the white man, you know what I mean? I could understand another nation because they see us as the enemy. So I don't expect them to have respect for us. But when it's our own carnal, it's just, man, it's really disappointing. You know, and that's what Christianity has done. It has made us evil towards one another, you know, and we lack empathy and respect and love for each other, man, because we're too busy loving the oppressor, you know.
Yeah, Concanal. And I would say this, man, like overall, You know, it's not about, you know, the ship crash.
Right.
You know, it's about, you know, the Most High flexing His power
Right.
and reminding, you know, reminding His children that He's the one in control of life and
Right,
death.
carnal.
You know what I mean? And when you see death, you know, you should want to seek His mercy,
Right.
because that could be you.
Right.
You know, these were people that didn't think that their lives were going to end that night on a ship,
Right.
on a
Right.
shipwreck. You know what I mean? And that could happen to anybody, man. And this right here, you should take it, right? Humble yourself and seek the Lord. But where do you seek the Lord? You know, where do you go to find the Lord's mercy? You know, you're not going to find it anywhere else but the Israelite School, Universal Practical Knowledge under Commanding General Yahweh.
Right. Damn right, carnal.
Khan.
Yeah, and this is real quick. I just want to show, you know, like the video showed the people. Oh, look at this, carnal. This is what I think. This is one of the victims. Just want to share this real quick before we go on to the next topic.
And it's like did the people who lost their lives are there Hispanics?
Yeah, the Mexicans.
Or what are they?
It was
okay, man. You know what? And our prayers, you know what I'm saying, go to their
right. Lord
families
be with
and
Lord be with them. Right.
You know, Lord be with them. You know what I mean?
This is one of them right here. This is the sister right here that died.
Estamos a bordo del buque Escuela Cuauhtémoc y les invitamos para el día de mañana a las 4 de la tarde, que es el zarpe del buque, para que nos vengan a visitar y aprovechen lo último que se pueda de nuestra visita en Nueva York. Gracias.
Ella es América Yamilet, la cadete veracruzana de 21 años que partió cumpliendo su sueño y perdió la vida a bordo del Cuauhtémoc.
Let me point something out, Commandant. You see right here the tugboat not doing anything. Here's my thing. Why didn't they have the tugboat, you know, escort the ship out from the beginning? Why didn't they tie the tugboat to the ship and have the tugboat escorted out of the harbor? I mean, you know, one of the things I did as a go ahead, Kanan.
Like, how close do you need to get to the ship before the tugboat starts to react?
I know in other cases, Carnal, like I've, you know, like one of the things, you know, like as a kid, I used to always go to, you know, what's it called, San Pedro, right? And see all the, you know, all the ships in the harbor. Yeah. I noticed that, San Pedro, and you will see the big ships leave the harbor. And one thing I always noticed, Carnal, were the tugboats tied to the ship, escorting it out of the harbor. You know what I mean? I'm pretty sure I'm gonna look up to see. Let me see something right here. Let me see something here, Carnal.
Yeah, because that's like 3 times the size of the tugboat.
Right.
That's a big ship.
Right. Look, I'm trying to find a picture. Watch. I bet you I could find a picture online of a tugboat escorting one of these old sailing ships out of the harbor. Right. Let me see.
And another thing too, Carnal, is that I know that they're on a walkie-talkie, or I don't know, like, you know, one of them systems.
Right.
I'm pretty sure that they were communicating.
Right.
You know, I'm pretty sure the captain of the ship was calling out for aid.
Right. Yeah, I believe he did. Right. And they still excused the pilot because they're saying that he only had 80 to 90 seconds to respond. But my thing is, why didn't they have the tugboat already, like, you know, have it like pushing the ship out? You know,
90 seconds. That's a minute and a half. Like, that's a pretty long time. You know.
God.
But of course, they're at a New York minute, right?
Right. New York minute. Right.
Salaka, that's not even a joke. Salaka.
Nah, no sweat. Like, you know, let me see. Like, I'm trying to find it, but look, I think I might have found something. Watch. Let me see. Just give me 1 second. Bear with me, Israel. Let me find this image real quick because I'm sure it's online. Watch, Commandant. I'm sure it's there. Watch. We're going to find it. Unless they were slick enough to take all that down so that people wouldn't dare question it, you know? I wouldn't put it past this oppressor to do that.
Come on. You know what I mean? If P. Diddy could pay to take videos down, I'm pretty sure they could take anything down. You know?
Look at this right here. I found one, Commandant. Oh, what happened? My microphone. I found one, Commandant. Look at this.
Yeah, Con.
Right there. You see it?
Yeah, Con.
Right there, Carnal. So, I mean, you know, why didn't they do this for the Cuauhtemoc? You know?
Yeah.
Why didn't they do it for Cuauhtemoc? That's my question. You know what I mean? And I wouldn't put it past, you know, that you find out in the future that, you know, it's because they didn't give a damn, you know. People are saying that it was done on purpose, but it's probably more of just some negligence on the oppressor side, you know. They don't give a damn. You know what I mean? So they didn't bother to do it, you know, until the tragedy happened. I mean, here's another one. You know? So it could have been done, Kamadan. But you know, that's just something for our people to wake up, man. Let me just pull out the scripture, you know, and then we're gonna go to the next topic.
Go ahead, Carnal.
Go to the book of Proverbs 3:31. Proverbs 3:31. This is the book of Proverbs, chapter 3, verse 31, which says, "Envy not thou oppressor, and choose none of his ways." And what I would have told them, bro, you know, like, I don't want to sound like, like this is what they get, you know what I mean? But one thing I would tell so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans is that y'all have no business joining this oppressor's military. Y'all have no business joining any military of another nation. Yeah, I know a lot of us believe, like want to join, like be all proud and love Mexico, but we got to remember that Mexico is not under our rule. Mexico is another, like the government of Mexico is corrupt. The government of Mexico is not our people. Majority of them are heathens. So when you join the Mexican military, you're fighting for a heathen. You're not even fighting for your raza. So that is something for the people of Mexico, para la gente de México, que no se entran al ejército de México, a ningún ejército, ni de los Estados Unidos, ni de otro país. Don't join America's military. Don't join Mexico's military, man. Stay out of it. If there's any lesson to be learned here, it's more than likely that, man. Don't join this oppressor's military, man. It's no benefit to you, and it only puts your life at risk, Raza. You know? Anything you wanted to add, Kamada?
Yeah, conquer. Not, you know what I mean? Like that's talking about spiritual warfare of assimilation.
Right.
The oppressor. That's Esau. That's the so-called. We can say that here.
Yeah, you can say that here.
The white. We can say that the white
man.
Okay,
El hombre blanco, el gringo.
The white man. I don't want to get our channels, strike your flag. You know what I mean? But the oppressor, right, in this system built on lies and bloodshed and oppression. You know what I mean? The Most High is giving a direct order. Don't envy the oppressor, right? Don't covet their lifestyle, and sure as hell don't choose any of their ways.
Right.
Yeah, conquer. No, that's it.
Most High in Christ cannot let me So the next part, so that's a lesson to that, man. And here's another example of following their ways, right? As we go into the next article. I mean, I'm sure a lot of y'all heard about what happened. Was it a couple of days ago, right? The two Jewish employees that worked at the Israeli embassy were unalived, and I'm gonna try and pull up the story real quick. Oh, here, Commandant. Let me share this real quick too before we move there. You were talking about this, right?
Well, what's that?
Drive across Mexico since we can't walk in anymore, and this is what happened. They put up a new border rolling wall, and they're stopping all tourists from coming in or coming out, and I'm not sure if you might need a visa or what the heck's going on, but these motorcyclists had to break through and keep on going. Check out the video above on the top. That's the new wall they rolled up on us, and we weren't able to get out for 6 to 10 hours. Today we're trying to drive across Mexico since we can't.
So that was when they shut down the border wall, or shut down the border entry, right? Hey, man.
Yeah, Con. Right. Yeah, that's what I'm talking. Big ass gates, they shut them down.
Right. It was like, okay, you want to charge us tariffs? No sweat. We're gonna shut down the border.
Just like Donald Trump, if you pay $5 million, he'll give you a visa. You heard about that, Malagma?
$5 million for a visa, man. Good night.
Yeah. Or $5 million for citizenship, something like that. You know what I'm saying? But for sure, he's selling visas, or it's like a gold membership. I'll say that. You know what I mean?
He's Costco now. he's making America into Costco, carnal.
Yeah, God. And this is the thing that like, I'm pretty sure Mexico is going to be the same thing. If you are an American citizenship, if you want to cross over to Mexico, right, and you could pay your way into Mexico, just like how illegals can pay their way, but you just got to be a million. You just got to be a millionaire. Probably turn in some cartel heads. I don't know if you ever also heard of how the Guzman, cartel family, how they turn in, a Zambada, which is another head of a cartel, and all of the Guzman members have, entry into the U.S. Did you hear about
Nice.
that?
Not hear about that.
Okay, you know that's another thing that they've been talking about.
I mean, you want to elaborate on it a little bit, Commandant? Shit, go for it, you know?
No, we could talk about it another time. You know what I mean?
No sweat, no sweat.
You know, get more facts on it and you know what I mean, talk about it.
Con. But let's get into the next story, man. So I just wanted to, you know, share this real quick. Hey, man, but that's poetic justice right there. They're like, you shutting down the border on us, we're gonna shut it down on you, man. now y'all gonna know what it's like. You know? So that's hilarious, man. I'll laugh at that. Now let's get to the next story. All right, here we go. Let me add it.
Tales about the cold-blooded assassination of a young couple outside the Jewish Museum in D.C.
Free Palestine!
Shocking video shows the 30-year-old suspected assassin, identified as Elias Rodriguez, being overpowered inside the museum minutes after gunning down an American woman and her soon-to-be fiancé. 26-year-old Sarah Milgram and 30-year-old Yaron Lachinsky were planning to get engaged in Israel next week. Yaron had ring.
Who was about to get engaged. He had an entire life in front of him, and that was taken away. The hate has got to stop, and it has to stop now.
The couple had just left an event at the museum when the killer approached them and shot them from behind. Witnesses say that after the shooting, Rodriguez walked into the museum looking distressed. At first, the people inside thought he was a victim and comforted him and offered him water. But two women I spoke to were suspicious.
I'm talking to him and I'm like, do you know where you are? And there was like a pause and I was like, you're at a Jewish museum. And immediately he took like 10 steps back and started screaming, I did it.
He started screaming that after you asked him, after you told him where he was?
Yeah, he could have just picked us off one by one after the security guard let him in.
So let me go back to the shooter, man. So this is the cat that did it.
Killer approached them and shot them from behind. Witnesses say that after the shooting, Rodriguez walked into the museum looking distressed. At first, the people inside thought he was a victim and comforted him, overpowered inside the museum. As Elias Rodriguez being overpowered inside the museum minutes after gunning down an American woman and her soon-to-be fiancé. 26-year-old Sarah Milgram and 30-year-old Yaron Lachinsky were planning to get engaged in Israel next week. Yaron had just bought the ring.
What we saw last night was disgusting. I saw a young man's body being taken away who was about to get engaged. He had an entire life in front of him, and that was taken away. The
Jewish Museum in D.C.
Free Palestine!
Shocking video shows the 30-year-old suspected assassin, identified as Elias Rodriguez.
So that once again, that's the cat that did it, you know. I don't even know what to say, Commandant. In all honesty, Carnal, like it's like I just put my head down and shake my head, man. Like,
man, I would say this, man, like there ain't no glory in taking lives of people, right? And the scripture says this. What is it? Romans. I was just looking it up. Romans 12 and 19. If you could get that,
Romans what? Say again. Romans 12 and 19.
12 and 19.
I'll go right there right now. Let's go to Romans 12 and 19, man. Like,
right? And this type of violence is straight up shameful for black so-called Hispanics, right?
So here's a precept, carnal, Romans 12:19, right?
Con.
Dearly beloved, avenge not yourselves, but rather give place unto wrath, for it is written, vengeance is mine, I will repay, saith the Lord.
You know what I'm saying? And that's the thing, man, that we got to Lord. Like, we don't have to take vengeance upon ourselves. Like, the Lord will repay that. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? And this is the thing, that he's seeking vengeance for a people that have never spoken up for his own people, right? Because this brother, I know for sure he's a Hispanic, but I don't know if he's Mexican, Central American, South American. But I do know this, that his people are being deported right now. And the people who he shouted out to be freed have never lifted up a voice for the people who are being deported right now.
If I could comment, I'm gonna share a video real quick to show the people that he was fighting for what they really feel. Let me show what these people really feel about you, Raza.
Yeah, and we got to keep it all the way real. You know, when one of us does something, this reckless, the whole Latino community ends up paying for it. You know, the news doesn't just say, what's his brother's name? Elias
Rodriguez.
The news doesn't just say Elias Rodriguez. They say a Latino shooter. You know, and this puts a stain on our people, right? That we have to scub off. You know, that's the whole, the whole action to his actions.
Right. Where's that video at, man? Let me go to the La Pura Neta page. It's right there.
Right, and it gives the system all the ammo it needs to paint us as violent, unstable, and in need of more policing and surveillance. You know what I mean? As if, them going undercover and having what do they call those? Oh man, they were just doing those recently. I'm talking about, like my arreten. What are they called?
When they do what?
Arreten.
Checkpoint.
Checkpoints.
Right.
Checkpoints. When they do checkpoints near our communities, because they know we're coming in and out. And they use this as proof to tie the noose on all Latinos. Go ahead, Malak Masalaki.
No, this is how foolish she looked fighting trying to avenge the Palestinians. You know what I mean? You done sacrificed your freedom. You done unalived two people, right? That the America's gonna portray as innocent, and they're gonna portray you as a cold-blooded killer. They're gonna blame your whole community, right? Because that's what this oppressor does. Anytime a so-called Black, Hispanic, or Native American does something, for some reason, the whole community has to be blamed. But God forbid you ever blame white people. God forbid you ever blame the Palestinians for anything. Let me show you how to. For anybody else that saw what this brother did, and you thought he did something honorable, and you thought that you should do the same thing for the Palestinians, that you should scream free Palestine and whatnot. Let me show you how the Palestinians feel about you. Let me show y'all real quick.
News, and you see CNN, and you see the chaos. We lived in the chaos you made for us. We lived in the cities and the neighborhoods where there was gang violence. What you think Chicago is? You ever been to the south side of Chicago? I know it's funny. I know you want to smile, but this is the condition that you have laid for my people.
Brody,
why should we cry for Palestine? Excuse me?
You ever been to Palestine?
Excuse me?
You ever been to Palestine?
Have I ever been to Palestine? Yeah, no, why do you ask that? No, why?
You're Palestinian and you're gonna
I can't hear what you're saying. You gotta come up.
So as you see, first of all, this Palestinian felt it necessary to interrupt Captain Akkad as Captain Akkad is talking about the suffering and pain of so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, right? He felt it necessary, for one, to go and interrupt Captain Akkad while he's bringing light to our issues. This fool thought, oh, let me interrupt him and let me compare. Let me compare and show you who's in worse pain, because this is what this, this heathen did.
Go over there and see and be a Palestinian citizen.
To Palestine?
Yeah,
No, why do you ask that? No,
Brody,
why should we go?
He asked him, "Have you ever been to Palestine?"
Palestine?
Excuse me?
You ever been to Palestine?
Excuse me?
You ever been to Palestine?
Have I ever been to Palestine?
Yeah,
No, why do you ask that? No, why?
You're Palestinian and you're gonna see what's gonna happen.
I can't hear what you're saying. You gotta come up.
Go over there and see and be a Palestinian citizen and see what's gonna happen.
Are you a?
He said, "Go over to Palestine, and you're gonna see what's gonna happen." So basically, Commandant, is he implying that if you're so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native American, and you talk about your issues in Palestine, the Palestinians are gonna shut you up? Is that what he's trying to imply?
Seems like that's what he's implying.
Right. It seems like that's what he's really implying. I know people are going to say, like, no, you don't have freedom of speech out there. I don't think so. I think what he's really trying to say is that you should shut up and stop talking about your issues, because your issues are
don't matter.
Small. Yeah, your issues don't matter compared to ours. We have real problems. That's what he's really saying. And that if you were to talk about your small problems in my country, we will shut you up. Meaning he's probably thinking, oh, Hamas is going to come kidnap you and unalive you, right? That you know what I mean? You understand? That's what it seems like he's trying to imply. Of course, if you're in the truth, you're going to catch on to it, but people in the world may not understand this, Commandant. Let's keep listening to what he's saying.
Palestinian?
That shit is a picnic over there.
Are you a Palestinian?
He
was what?
I am Palestinian.
You Palestinian? Let me tell you something. You said you're what?
Whatever you said just now.
He said, "I'm actually a victim over there." That's what he told Kamikad. What do you like? My question would be, what do you mean you're actually a victim? So are you trying to say we're not victims here in America? Is that are you repeating what the white man says about us? What they always tell us, Carnal, that we're exhibiting victim mentality when we talk about our issues. Right. We're victims. We're playing the victim card.
That's in the past. Forget about it.
Yeah, that's in the past. Forget about it. If you don't like it, go back home. Right. That's what they like to tell us.
Right.
This cat really told us, while we're talking about our issues, that he's a real victim. So basically what he's saying is we're not victims. He's the real victim. He's the real victim, but we aren't. Imagine
99 million so-called Negroes. What is it, like 74 million Native Americans? Right, Malagma?
Millions and millions. So-called,
right, 60 million or 70 million, Taino and Hispanics is I guess millions is not victims.
Right, is not victims, and we never got justice for it. The world has not came to a standstill. We don't even have a holiday commemorating their losses, Kamada.
Right.
These other nations get holidays. Well, what they call it, the Armenian Genocide Day, where all the Armenians. Yeah, right. Yeah. You know what I mean? They take the whole day off. They'll go to the Turkish embassy. Nobody tells them to get over it. Nobody tells them it's wrong for them to hate the Turks.
Right, and this is another thing. They wave their flags, honking their horns.
Right.
And then they don't get told, go back to your country.
Right. They don't tell them, oh, you can't wave that flag
if
here.
You don't like it here.
Leave, right. You fly the American flag here, right? They don't tell them that.
Right.
They'll tell us that. They'll tell a Mexican, you're protesting the wrong way. You're making the raza look bad by waving the Mexican flag,
Right.
Meanwhile, this cat, and that's why this cat right here felt it necessary to interrupt the camp speaking when we're bringing light to our issues, and then say we're not victims, but he's the real victim. I'm gonna keep playing. I'm gonna keep playing the video.
Right? That's a picnic.
Once again, he said it's a picnic out here for us versus what he saw. Once again, making light of what we suffer, man, versus what he suffers. That his issues are real suffering, are real pain, and ours are a picnic.
Over in Palestine. Also, you said your daughters get raped. And your mothers. Jesus Christ. That is insane. That is insane. Can I ask you one quick question? Come up a little bit so I can hear. Your cousins.
They don't even have something to eat right now.
Wow, that is insane. Let me say, can I say, stop for a second. Can I say something to you? The things you are describing to me are.
And you know what's amazing, Kamada? And this is why we're the people that are meant to rule the earth. Kamaka did not tell this Palestinian that he's not a real victim. He didn't tell him that your issues are a picnic compared to ours. Right? Kamaka tells him this.
Inhumane and cruel, and no nation should see their mother or their daughters or their sisters be raped by no nation. But let me remind you of something. It's one.
Right, so he told him. He said that should happen to no nation. Right? He didn't, like I said, he didn't belittle his pain and the suffering. He didn't say that he's not a real victim. He didn't say that what they're going through right now is a picnic. He said no nation should go through that. He said it is absolutely horrible and inhumane what the Palestinians suffered. And we're going to continue.
Particular thing about the 12 tribes of Israel that make us particularly unique compared to you. Your people were raped and destroyed. My people were raped and destroyed and robbed by all the other nations. Listen. When you
and then tells them right now, right? So he's saying it's not happening to us right now. As if there's not the plague of murdered, missing indigenous women, murdered and missing Latina women, murdered and missing black women. It's an epidemic, right, Kamada? What happens to our women, to our children, and he's gonna say right now as if it's not happening to us right now, only happening to him.
Say the mother's been raped. When you say, right now. So what you saying is now on the news right now? So you haven't seen police brutality? You never heard of George Floyd? You never heard of George Floyd? So I just want to understand this about you people, right? Help me do something, because I want to have a dialogue with you, right? But before I can have a dialogue with you, I want you to help me try to understand. Why is your suffering greater than mine?
Right.
Why is your suffering greater? Because see, you said your mother was raped. Surely in slavery, you ever heard of lynchings? Right. Have you ever heard of lynchings? That's right. I know you have. Have you ever heard of alligator? Oh, just wait 1 second. Just wait 1 second. Have you ever heard of alligator?
Did you catch what he was telling him, Kamada?
Go ahead, Malama.
He was telling you heard what he was telling him, right? When Kamaka was telling him, like, have you ever heard of lynching? Have you ever heard of alligator bait? He told him how many years ago was that?
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, imagine that. How about when he starts talking about his mothers and his cousins and everything getting raped and bombed? And I should say, oh, well, how many years ago was that? Oh, how many days ago was that? Oh, that's a picnic, compared to what my people have suffered. You imagine how evil that is to say to somebody. And this cat felt it necessary to tell us that, because that's the lack of empathy and the lack of humanity that these other nations have for the children of Israel, for the real Jews of the Bible. The whole world will come to a standstill for Palestine. The whole world will come to a standstill for the Israelis. But
They shut down the bridge. Malagma, remember that in San Francisco?
Right, they shut down bridges, embassies, they
Right.
protesting in schools, shutting down schools. When was that ever done for us, Commandant? It's never been done for us, man. And when we try to even talk about it, we're told it's in the past. We're told we got to let it go. But let me, we're almost done with the video. Say again,
I was saying, if he would have had empathy, he would have said, we're going through the same thing and we have one common enemy. Right? That's like it. Go ahead, Malakma. Finish it up.
All right, no sweat on that.
Was in the past. All right, so when did they bomb Gaza? Kind of 3 days ago? Oh, so Gaza was 3 days ago. So that's in the past. That's in the past. That's in the past. It was a couple weeks ago.
Right, yeah, you didn't like that.
Are you telling me to get over my suffering? Are you telling me to get over my people's suffering? Right, see, if you would have listened and you want to.
That's exactly what he was telling him, Kamada. Right. That's exactly what he was telling. We should get over our pain and our suffering and embrace yours because yours is more important. But the reason why he had the balls to come up and say that is because our people do that. We will push our issues to the side, forget about it, and we'll go march for Palestine. We'll go march for the Israelis. You know what I mean? And forget our own. That's what we do. We allow them to feel that way.
Okay.
Now I'm not telling people to go harm, the Jewish man at a museum. I'm not telling y'all to go, harm Palestinians. But what I will tell you is that you remember your pain and your suffering first. You remember the issues that you suffer first, man. And that brother, Elias, I mean, for argument's sake, I'm gonna say it's a brother, right, Kamada?
Mm-hmm.
Elias Rodriguez should have had the sense to go and get counsel. You know what I mean? You should have called the ISUPK, got some counsel, and a brother would have talked him out of it.
Right.
And brought to his life, like, brother, these Palestinians don't give a damn about you, carnal. You did their dirty work for them. You know what I mean? Let them fight their own war. You know what I mean? Why are you fighting their war?
He's gonna rot in prison, and no Palestinian is gonna put money in his books.
Right. No Palestinian's gonna put money. I'm pretty sure have they even done a GoFundMe for him?
Right. They're not even right.
I don't see marches praising them, right? Where's a march from a Palestinian praising Elias Rodriguez? Where they at? Where y'all at? Right? Where are y'all raising the issue to free this brother? To free this carnal? Y'all ain't saying a damn thing.
Right. According to their movement, he'll be considered a superhero, right, Malakma?
Right. A martyr, a jihadist, right? Because they follow that Islam. Yeah. So he did a jihad for y'all, and y'all not honoring him. Y'all honor your members, though. Y'all honor Hamas and the PLO and whatever other movement y'all got out there. But y'all won't remember this brother that did what he did for y'all. And at the end of it, he still yelled "Free Palestine." When he was getting arrested, he yelled "Free Palestine." He didn't say "fuck ICE." He didn't say "free the kids that are locked up in cages." He didn't say
Trump.
Yeah, he didn't say "land back." He didn't say "fuck Donald Trump." He didn't say none of that. He said "Free Palestine," carnal. Because that's where where we've been brainwashed to forget our issues and worry about everyone else's,
Right.
And it's sad, carnal. It's sad that this happened, and now you're giving Donald Trump all the ammo he needs, right? And you're helping a people that will never help you. And they demonstrated it right here.
They will never go jihad for you.
Say again?
I said they will never go jihad for you.
Right. They never, not once. Not once. Now, don't get me wrong, because I know, they probably, people watch this thing and take what we say out of context, Hamadan. We're not saying to do it. We're not saying that we're not calling for it.
You know,
Right.
that's the reason why I said that precept in Book of Romans that,
Yeah.
you know, vengeance is of the Lord. You know what I'm saying? We don't,
Right.
you know, tell anybody to be violent. You know, that's not our spirit, man. You know what I'm saying? The Lord is he's the power that's gonna,
Right.
you know, take vengeance upon all the nations, all the heathen nations that have had his chosen people in captivity.
Right, Carnal. Let me show this.
Go ahead, Malama.
Let's see. So this is a cat that did it.
And once again, just so they won't take it out of context, Palestinians are not God's chosen people. I was not
Right.
referring to Palestinians when I said that the Lord will take vengeance for his chosen people. His chosen people are so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. We are the true descendants of the biblical Israelites. Go ahead, Malama.
Right. I'll say Carnal. So this is a cat that did it, right?
Yeah.
What'd you say? So that you know, John Hyman brought out something heavy, right? You Palestinians, you want peace in the Middle East? Acknowledge who the Lord's people are. You Jewish man and women, right? The Jewish man and the you Israelis, right? The state of Israel. You want peace in the Middle East? Acknowledge who the true Jews of the Bible are.
Right.
Here's what John Muhammad said that was so heavy, Kana. He said that the reason why they commit these acts and do this, right? Like the reason why there's an Al Qaeda, the reason why there's Hamas, the reason why there's the PLO, the IDF, you know, NATO, all the military forces. The reason why all those forces exist and why they have wars and take vengeance and commit acts of terrorism is because they have no faith in God. You know what I mean? Because they
Right.
know that the Lord is not with them. And that's the proof that we're God's chosen people because we have faith in the Lord, whether we want to admit it or not. There's a reason why we don't, harm them. There's a reason why we don't go and take up arms and go storm a capital because we believe in God and we know that God will avenge us. So consciously or subconsciously, we know that. We know that the Lord is going to avenge us for the evil that America has done to our ancestors, that does to our children, our women, you know what I mean? To the men. All the evil that's been done, the Lord is gonna take vengeance on America and the world for their hand in our oppression. And that includes you Palestinians and you Israelis and every other nation because all of you have had hand in our oppression. All of y'all.
Con.
So all we got to do, Kamada, is we just got to have faith in the Lord and serve the Lord, and He's going to do what He's going to do. He's as that precept you brought out said, vengeance is His.
Right.
And let me pull out that famous scripture that we like pulling out, man. That backs up what we say because everything we say is biblical, man. Let's go to Revelation 13 and 10. And then we'll get ready to close out Kamada.
And so like I wanted to pull another story.
Nah, hey man, you're more than one. Hey, por favor, carnal. Bring
Go
out
ahead.
all the stories you
Yeah.
can bring out, man.
Con, carnal.
Hey,
I wanted to pull a similar story of a heathen that
Right,
did
carnal.
something similar to this Hispanic brother. Go ahead, Malagma.
Now I was gonna say, man, so I was gonna say something. Man. I know y'all tuning in, man. Come on, drop a comment, subscribe to the channel, man. I know y'all viewing secretly, man. Let it be known whether you agree or disagree, man. If y'all tune in later, please type in some questions or comments, So no sweat. But meantime, go ahead, Kamada. I'm gonna share this piece real quick.
Go ahead, Malagma.
This is the book of Revelation, chapter 13, verse 10. Or let me go to verse 9. If any man have an ear, let him hear. He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here is the patience and the faith of the saints. You know what I mean? So the Bible says, he that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. So when y'all start crying about, talk about, oh, y'all racist against white people and blah, 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 you saying they're going to be slaves? I'm not saying it. The Bible says it. God said it. You know what I mean? And y'all, so, that's the other thing, Commandant. That's the lack of compassion, you know?
Con.
There's a lack of compassion for us. Like, we're not even allowed to want justice for the evil that's been done to us at their hand.
Yeah, conquer not. Right? He that leadeth to captivity shall go into captivity. Damn right. And there's a thing that now they're gonna start saying that Hispanics are anti-Semitic. Right?
Damn it! I wish I had my sound bite so I could, put the thing. Next time I have it, man, we'll have the sound bite, have the sound effects. That's funny though, man. Calling us anti-Semitic. We can't be anti-Semitic because we're Semitic. Or you mean, you know what I mean? Or we're Shemitic. Get it right, man. They can't even pronounce the term right, Commandant.
Oh yes.
You know what I mean? Shemitic, not Semitic.
From Sham, not Shem.
There's no anti-Semitism towards oh man, how do I say it? Let me say it in the right politically correct way. There's no such thing as racism towards white people. And really, there's no such thing as anti-Semitism towards Jewish people. You know what I mean? And I pray that the channel doesn't get flagged for that. But let me explain, right? The hatred that the Israelis and the Europeans are getting is not because you're Israeli and you're European. The hatred that y'all are getting is because the way y'all treat people and the evil y'all do. Y'all go and bomb countries. Y'all go and destabilize regions. Y'all go and force your beliefs and your culture and your ways on the people. And then y'all act surprised when they resist. You're getting back what you give out. No one hates the white man because he's blonde hair and blue eyes. People hate the white man because of the evil that y'all do. And the same thing with the IDF, with that state, which is not even which is the synagogue of Satan. Not even, the true Israelites of the Bible. But for argument's sake, let me say that. You know what I mean? The state of Israel, you're getting what you give out. No one is singling y'all out because you're quote unquote God's chosen people. Y'all done a lot of you oppressed the Palestinians and they're responding. You oppressed all the Arab nations right there and they're responding. You just you're at war. What do you expect?
You're an oppressor.
You're an oppressor. Exactly.
That's what you are. You're an oppressor, man.
And then the nerve y'all had to say that's anti-Semitic. You go and bomb children, destroy hospitals. It's out there. Let me show you. Let me show you what y'all do. Look at this. This is what they do, Commandant. They bombed a food kitchen, a relief kitchen. You know what I mean? Because they were helping feed people out there, Carnal. So that was the response they did. You know what I mean? Yeah, whatever story you want to bring up, Carnal, go for it.
Yeah, Carnal, if you could look up Jamie Tran or Jaime, Jaime Tran. Right, this is a Vietnamese, and or you could go to YouTube and look up Riverside man sentenced to 35 years, and it's gonna be NBC, and this is a heathen Vietnamese from Los Angeles, right? And he targeted a Jewish community. This happened. Jaime, I mean that's how you spell it. It's Jamie, Jaime,
Right.
Jamie Tran, Tran.
Right.
Him. This happened in 2023, right? Kanye West was being called anti-Semitic by somewhere around October 2022. You see it?
Man who shot 2 Jewish men in Pico Robertson area back in 2024.
This happened in Los Angeles by Pico and Robertson. That's a big Jewish community right there. You know, I used to take the bus and I used to pass by, that community right there off of Pico and Robertson. You know what I mean?
Let's see. Okay, Khan, let me.
Count on Eyewitness News to get you the facts.
This fire continues to grow here in Orange County.
Because no one covers breaking news better than Eyewitness News. On the ground, in the air, and now more than ever, streaming 24/7.
Wherever and whenever it works for you.
Southern California counts on ABC 7 Eyewitness News, Southern California's news leader.
A man who pled guilty in 2 hate crime shootings has been sentenced to 35 years behind bars.
Both of the victims targeted as they left synagogues. Eyewitness News reporter Josh Haskell is live in downtown LA with reaction to the sentencing of a man authorities say plotted to murder people because of their religion. Josh?
And Jamie Tran, formerly of Riverside, elevated the hate and anti-Semitism that LA's Jewish community was already feeling last February when he shot at 2 men who were wearing yarmulkes after they left houses of worship. 30-year-old Jamie Tran sentenced to 35 years in federal prison for terrorizing LA's Jewish community in February of last year, shooting 2 Jewish men after they left prayer services on back-to-back days in Pico Robertson.
These 2 victims were complete strangers.
Now these imposters survived.
The attorney, this is a U.S. attorney, Martin Estrada, and he's already siding with them. You know what I mean?
Right. You know what I mean? They survived.
They survived.
Right. But go ahead, Malama. Just so we could get
Mr. Tran. He attempted to kill them for the sole reason that they were Jewish. In fact, Mr. Tran chose the location for these shootings by typing in to Yelp kosher market.
Both men survived the attacks. Tran pled guilty to 2 counts of hate crimes with intent to kill and 2 counts of using a firearm during a crime of violence. Thanks to help of witnesses, the LAPD was able to obtain a license plate and Tran was arrested the day after the second shooting, likely preventing further violence towards Jews.
He collected Nazi propaganda. He sent anti-Semitic messages to former classmates of his. He even wrote in an online chat room, quote, "Time to kill all Jews." When he was arrested, he was in possession of 2 firearms, including an AR-style rifle and plenty of ammunition.
This is a city of love and of diversity and where there's no room for hate.
The Jewish community is understandably on edge. We are but a little more than 2% of the population of this country, yet we are targeted more for religious-based hate crimes than any other group.
If I could, Commandant, and that is why the white man is the devil that the Bible speaks of. He really is saying that. Well, what did he say? He said that they're targeted for their religious beliefs. That is not why y'all are targeted. But you are. That's y'all playing the victim card. Y'all are targeted because y'all go and what Tran did. Y'all do that on a mass scale. You know what I mean? The nation y'all represent does that on a mass scale. And people cannot retaliate against because y'all are a very powerful nation. You know what I mean? Y'all the lead tribe of Esau. So y'all empowered and have control of the world. That's why people do that. It ain't got nothing to do with your religious beliefs, unless your religious beliefs, encourage that y'all go do that. You know?
Yeah, Kankana. But my question is this, right? Where was did you hear about this, Malagma?
I remember hearing about it a while back.
You did? Oh, okay, because I was gonna say I don't recall hearing about this, or like it didn't get the coverage or the exposure
Of course
that
it didn't.
Elias Rodriguez is getting right now. Like, Vietnamese and the Asians are not gonna be seen or they're not talking about that they're anti-Semitic.
Right.
And this is Kanye West was being called anti-Semitic like around 2022. This happened in 2023, and he got sentenced last year.
Good night.
I think in September. Yeah, I think September he got sentenced. You know what I'm saying? But the thing is that Asian people are not being considered anti-Semitic, right? They're not gonna be targeted as violent or.
You know why? If I could, Kamada, you know why?
Go ahead.
You know why? Because Asians are not the chosen people of God. You know what I mean?
God.
We are, and they have to respond like that. They have to respond swiftly and demonize us and what's the term? Blackball us and spread all the misinformation and propaganda they can, so that no one believes us, because they cannot. Their survival depends on it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Their rulership depends on
but
it.
I just
go ahead, Kanan.
It's fine. No, but what I wanted to do, I just wanted to show the difference from when a heathen does the same crime, right? They don't get the exposure that a Hispanic or so-called Black or Native American would get.
Right.
They're gonna demonize us. They're gonna paint a horrible picture. You know what I mean? When a Hispanic person does something that hits, national nerves, like shooting two Jewish, people. This damn heathen shot two Jewish people. The difference is that they survived. The other one, the Hispanic, he unalived the two Jewish people, right? And the tendency is that is going to get amplified more when a so-called Black or Hispanic commits the crime, and it's going to be plastered across mainstream, all across the media outlets, and they're going to say, look, the minorities are that's the proof that they commit violence, that they're violent. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Exactly. That built that wall. You know what I'm saying? So I just wanted to show how, this is a story that's around the same lines of someone targeting two Jewish people. The difference is that one, story, they ended up being unalive. Nonetheless, they were targeted, right? But now Elias Rodriguez is going to be seen as the most terrorist person on earth, when this man, there's a Vietnamese, committed the same crime, right? And he just got sentenced last year. Last year, he just got sentenced for this crime against, the same people, but he's not being racially discriminated against.
Right.
You get what I'm saying, Malama?
Right. Yeah. Kanan. Look at all. Look. As you were, breaking that down, Kanan, I found this right here. Look.
Go ahead.
Elias Rodriguez, the man charged with killing two Israeli embassy staffers in Washington, D.C., approached police on the scene after the shooting and told them, "I did it for Palestine. I did it for Gaza," according to a court document filed on Thursday. Rodriguez allegedly murdered Yaron Lechinsky and Sarah Milgram outside an event at the Capitol Jewish Museum on Wednesday night. Lachinsky and
Mm-hmm.
Milgram were a couple, and Lachinsky was planning to propose in Jerusalem next week. So they're doing everything right to make him seem like he's a cold-blooded killer. The U.S.
Right.
Justice Department said Rodriguez has been charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder, as well as other charges, including the murder of foreign officials. An affidavit filed by an FBI agent in support of the criminal complaint said that as police escorted Rodriguez from the building, he shouted "Free Palestine." The document said police reviewed security footage showing Rodriguez walking past the victims outside the museum, then turning, pulling a firearm from his wristband, and shooting them in the back. As the victims fell to the ground, he approached them and fired several more times as Milgram attempted to crawl away from him. Milgram then sat up while Rodriguez reloaded, and he shot her again. The video shows, according to the affidavit. Investigators recovered 21 empty shell casings and a 9mm handgun from the scene and matched a firearm Rodriguez purchased in Illinois in 2020. He flew from Chicago to Virginia with the firearm in his checked baggage, the affidavit said. He declared the firearm for the flight. Rodriguez later told detectives that he admired Aaron Bushnell, an anti-Israeli activist who self-immolated outside the Israeli embassy last year in protest, calling Bushnell a martyr. Was that the cat that burned himself? Aaron Bushnell, I'm assuming? Yeah, who self-immolated. Yeah, self-immolated. I'm assuming that means he burned the soldier that burned himself. A 30-year-old from Chicago also said he bought a ticket to the event at the museum 3 hours before it started. The brutal anti-Semitic violence has no place in our country or anywhere in civilization, said U.S. Attorney General Pamela Bondi. We will follow the facts and secure the most severe possible punishment for the perpetrator of this heinous crime. Did they do that for Tran Kamada? Which robbed 2 wonderful young people of a bright future together. I'm sure they didn't do that for Tran because, of course, he's not Latino. The case is being investigated by the FBI and Washington's Metropolitan Police Department and is being prosecuted by the U.S. Attorney's Office for the District of Columbia. Okay, so he's just going more into the murder. I'm trying to find where they said more info on him.
Right, and the thing is that he's not being labeled, or his people are not going to be labeled as dangerous or aggressors.
All right.
You know what I'm saying? And now, people are going to believe that what Donald Trump has been saying about Hispanics, that we're, dangerous and violent people. Now with this is going to justify what they say against us,
right?
Which is not true because other race of people commit the same heinous crimes, but they don't get labeled dangerous or violent, or whatever, terrorists.
Right.
They don't get labeled like that.
Right, carnal. And it's crazy, right?
God.
So, Lucky, give me 1 second. And look, here's more info on him. Rodriguez was once, he said FBI agents were seen, they raided his apartment, right? It says FBI agents were seen at his apartment in Chicago on Thursday, where law enforcement blocked off the street. Rodriguez was once affiliated with a far-left group in Chicago, the Party for Socialism and Liberation. So this cat was probably a communist. According to to a post from the group on X, the group said that Rodriguez had a brief association with a PSL branch that ended in 2017, and they knew of no contact with him in more than 7 years. Rodriguez was also identified in a 2018 local news report as a member of the Chicago branch of a national group called ANSWER, an acronym for Act Now to Stop War and End Racism, which has organized demonstrations in solidarity with Palestinians. Rodriguez worked at the healthcare nonprofit American Osteopathic Information Association. The organization confirmed in a statement expressing sympathy for the victims. He also worked as an oral history researcher at the History Makers, a nonprofit dedicated to preserving African American stories, according to a now delegated biography on the group's website. Rodriguez was born and raised in Chicago and graduated from the University of Illinois Chicago with an English degree. He previously worked as a content writer for commercial and non-commercial technology firms that the deleted page said. So that was about it. It's just his history. So he's been involved with a lot of nonprofit organizations. Trying to, and once again, it goes back to the whole mentality, Kamada. This cat thought it necessary to forget his pain and suffering and go fight for the Palestinians.
But the whole point is that what I was trying to prove with the two stories, right? Is that when it comes to another race of people committing the same crimes, it's more of a apologetic tone.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's more like apologetic. Like they'll be like, oh, he they try to look into what type of home, like his parents were divorced, this and that. You know what I'm saying? Try to always justify that person's actions. But when it's a Hispanic or a so-called Black or a Native American, it's just like he's evil. Just lock him up and throw away the key. You know what I mean? Yeah. But that's the only thing I wanted to bring out. With that story. Kankana.
Well, we're already 2 hours in, man. So I think we should call it a night. Lord allow, we'll be back at it again next Wednesday. Holding it down. For of course, Officer Lahab couldn't be with us tonight. Norash War, Lord allow, they can be with us next week. Shout out to brother, he just had his son. So Most High in Christ for that. Give the Lord, congratulations that come out.
And the son, priest from the past.
Damn right, man. Damn right. We're gonna keep the tradition, man. Raza, this is what I'll tell y'all real quick before we close out, man. If you want this oppression to end, man, come serve the Lord. Serve the Most High and come learn the truth from the only place authorized to teach it, man, which is the ISUPK under Commanding General Yohana, man. Get in class, learn the truth, live this culture, man, and endure until the end, and watch as we get free and these oppressors fall, man. But with that, man, we'll be back at it again next week. Kamadai, anything else you want to drop, Karnan?
Nah, just how you put it, Karnan. Come into the UPK and learn how to have the Lord on your side. Learn how you don't have to take vengeance. You know what I mean? Learn how to serve the Lord so the Lord can take vengeance. Well, what's that scripture, Malak, that says, if you obey me, he just paraphrasing. If you could get that, we could end that. If we could end it with that, I'll be an adversary to your adversaries.
Oh, is it Okay, I'll look at it right now. I'll be an enemy to your enemy. It's Exodus 23 and 22. I'm gonna go there real quick, man. Yeah, this is a good scripture to end it on. We got it right here, Kanan. So we get to go, man, and let's end it.
You got Kanan.
This is the book of Exodus, chapter 23, verse 22. But if thou shalt indeed obey his voice and do all that I speak, then I will be an enemy unto thine enemies, and an adversary unto thine adversaries.
Right.
So that's all we got to do. That's all. We just got to obey the voice of the Lord thy God. You know what I mean?
Right. And you know, when the wicked come against God's chosen people who are so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, they're not just coming against us, they're coming against the most high power, man.
Right,
You know what I mean? And he promised to fight our battles. You don't have to do it. You know what I'm saying? The Lord is going to be an adversary to who, Malagma?
To your adversaries.
To
the so-called white man, to the heathens, man, to the, all of them, man. Everybody that's had a hand in our oppression, man.
Right. You know what I mean? So you just understand this, that no matter, what nations plot against us, you know what I mean? No matter what schemes they have against us, no matter how they slander us, the Most High is standing right by our sides, man.
Damn right.
And he's ready to wage war on our behalf. You know what I mean? And they can't break that. They can't stop that. You know what I mean? That's it, carnal.
Órale, man. It's like, yeah, we're gonna end it. But with that, we'll be back at it again next week. Yahaba Shem Shabrakata to the canales, Yahweh Shema Lata Bashim to the mujeres. We'll be back at it again next week. With that, Shalom, Israel.